Welcome in, DIY friends. Today we're going to talk about 3 components that you need to know about the toilet. Yes, this is everyone's favorite topic, the toilet. We're going to look at 3 things that you need to know about it, and we're going to look at one thing you can do to diagnose if you think you've got a leak in the toilet, if it's continuously running, or if your water bill is higher than you think it should be. There is a very easy way to test to see if it's running and using more water than it should. Let's get right into it. Component number 1 on toilets. This right here is your shutoff valve. If you have anything you need to do with the toilet, whether it's removing it or doing a repair on the internal, what I'm going to call the guts of the toilet, the flush mechanism, you want to make sure that this is shut off. If you turn that clockwise, that is going to shut off all water flow to the toilet. So anytime you flush or do anything from this point forward, it won't allow water to get to it. Also, don't mind my baseboards back here. They've seen a little bit of water, and that's going to get replaced in a future video. The second important component of a toilet is actually underneath the toilet where the toilet meets the floor. Underneath here, there's a 4-inch pipe that comes up, and there's a toilet flange. On that flange is a wax ring. Anytime you pull this toilet off the floor for any reason, you want to make sure you replace that wax ring. It's not fun. You may want to wear gloves to do it, but it has to be done. Pro tip: anytime you are doing anything where you have to remove the toilet, you change the wax ring, don't over tighten your bolt here or the nut. You'll have your washer, you'll have the nut that tightens down. If you over tighten that, one of 2 things will happen. You will either A, break the flange that's underneath there that goes down into the floor, or B, you'll crack your toilet. This is porcelain, and it can crack pretty easy. So be careful not to put too much pressure on that nut. Now, the third thing is inside this basin back here in this reservoir. I'm going to show it to you in a minute, but you just pull this off and you'll see the flush mechanism inside. This is what it's going to look like when you take the back off of the toilet. You've got your flush mechanisms in here. This ball is pushed up or let down when the water flushes. It goes down, and then as the water fills it back up, it pushes it back up, which then engages here and tells it to stop sending water. Now, this toilet, I believe, is leaking into the bowl, so I'm going to use food coloring, and I'm going to put a few drops into the water reservoir here. And obviously that's going to turn that water blue. If this is leaking, we will start to see blue show up in the bowl of the toilet. While we wait for the blue to kind of settle in and potentially start leaking down, so this is your flush handle, and it pulls this cylinder up, which allows water to go underneath this piece here. At the bottom of this piece, there's a thin rubber gasket. It goes around that, and it seals down there so that when that cylinder is down, it doesn't let water through. Sometimes that seal gets compressed, sometimes it gets moved off of its position it's supposed to be in, and when that happens, you can start to have water leak down through here into the bowl of the toilet, which will cause this to run, and it'll cause it to use more water than it needs to. So you're going to let that sit for a little while, and if it is leaking water from the reservoir into the bowl, you'll start to see blue streaks of water come down where the water is leaking. All right, so we've let this sit for about an hour now with the blue dye in the reservoir. So if there's a leak coming through, it should be showing itself by now. The great news is it's all clear. There's no blue in there, so that means we do not have a leak at that seal. Now, if you find that you do have a leak, you can get this whole mechanism here, the flush valve and everything inside here, for anywhere from $15 to $30, depending on the brand of your toilet. Now, the seal at the very bottom down here, the little rubber gasket that goes around that, you can buy those typically for about $7 to $10, again, depending on the model of your toilet. I hope you learned something about toilets today that you didn't already know, and I hope you can diagnose the problem if something comes up. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.